Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astotara Satashi Shrimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nanta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopina Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jamuna Devi Ki Jai, Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're reading from Canto 10, Chapter 60, Krishna teases Rukmini, Text 2. Yastvetal lilaya vishvam Srijatyatyavatishvaraha Sahijata svasetunam Gopithaya yadushvajaha Yastveta lilaya vishvam Srijatyatyavatishvaraha Sahijata svasetunam Gopithaya yadushvajaha Yastveta lilaya vishvam Yastveta lilaya vishvam Srijatyatvavatishvaraha Sahijata svasetunam Gopithaya yadushvajaha Yastveta lilaya vishvam Srijatyatvavatishvaraha Sahijata svasetunam Gopithaya yadushvajaha Yaha who to and etat this lilaya as his play vishvam universe srijati sends forth ati devours avati protects ishvaraha the supreme controller saha he indeed jataha born sva his own setunam of the laws gopitaya for the protection yadushu among the yadus ajaha the unborn lord. Translation: the unborn personality of Godhead, the supreme controller, who creates, maintains, and then devours this universe, simply as his play, took birth among the Yadus to preserve his own laws. Please repeat. The unborn personality of Godhead, the supreme controller, who creates, maintains, and then devours this universe, simply as his play, took birth among the Yadus to preserve his own laws. purport by the servants of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As stated in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 6.3.19, Dharmam tushakshad bhagavat pranitam. Religion is the law established by God. The word setu means a boundary or limit, as in the case of a dike. Earth is raised up on both sides of a river or canal so that the water will not deviate from its proper path. Similarly, God establishes laws so that people who follow them can peacefully progress along the path back home, back to Godhead. These laws, which are meant to guide human behavior, are thus called setu. A further note on the word setu: earth that is raised up to separate agricultural fields or to form a causeway or bridge is called setu. Is also called setu. Thus, in the 9th canto, the Bhagavatam uses the word setu to indicate the bridge Lord Ramachandra built to Sri Lanka. Since the laws of God act as a bridge to take us from material life to liberated spiritual life, this additional sense of the word setu certainly enriches its use here. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Desha Tarine. I'm grateful to be able to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam this morning, seeking all of your blessings. So we will read the commentaries also, but just to set the context here, Shukadev Goswami is speaking, and before leading on to this chapter of Krishna teasing Rukmini, he is saying some introductory verses here. These two verses are kind of introductory, and when we read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, we'll see why is he mentioning about the Lord is the supreme controller. He creates, maintains, and devours this universe simply as his play, and he took birth among the Yadus to preserve his own laws. So why is Shukadev Goswami saying these things before starting this pastime? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, in order to show that the cause of interrupting Rukmini's service was Krishna's pastime and nothing else, this verse states that the creation and destruction of the world also is his pastime. Though he is birthless, he appeared in the Yadu dynasty to maintain respect for the laws created by himself, Sva Setunam Gopitaya. Thus, it can never be his desire to stop the service of prema of his dear devotee, but rather to cause a strengthening of that prema. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying here that just as creation, maintenance, and destruction is just like a play for the Lord, so similarly, this interrupting Rukmini's service is a play, like he's doing it in a playful way, in a teasing way, and it's in that mood of playfulness. And he doesn't desire to disrupt her service. Rather, it's to increase her prema. Just like when Krishna comes, it's not, it's to establish, to protect his laws that he establishes. Jiva Goswami writes, this verse shows how he is Jagat Guru. The word tu means it is well known. As a controller of Prakriti, Ishvara, the Purusha avatars, he creates this universe with various amazing features. He alone, Swayam Bhagavan alone, has appeared for birth pastimes among the Yadus, even though he is unborn, in order to protect the modes of conduct established by the Purusha avatars. And Sanatan Goswami, having indicated the good fortune of Rukmini in serving such a husband, this verse shows how he is Jagat Guru. The word tu means it is well known. As the controller of Prakriti, Ishvaraha, the Purusha avatars, he creates this universe with various amazing features. With no dependence on anything, he plays like a child. Or, why does he create this world? No one can understand. Or, as a protector, he creates his world so all the jivas can reach the supreme abode by enjoying their karmas. He alone, Swayam Bhagavan, has appeared for birth pastimes among the Yadus, even though he is unborn, in order to protect the modes of conduct established by the Purusha avatars. Thus it is suitable that he has more astonishing and sweet pastimes than creating the world. So this upcoming pastime is more sweet and more relishable than his creation of this world, Sanatana Goswami is saying. So I'd like to focus on a couple aspects here, and one of them is how this creation of everything is just like a plaything for the Lord, just like a child is not so concerned. He just does things, very carefree. And yet, Krishna is full of concern. So he's unconcerned in that sense, like he's carefree, but at the same time, he's full of care for every living entity. And that's why he creates these setunam, these laws that are like bridges so that we can come out of this material world and come back to him. So I just thought that was a very a nice juxtaposition of carefree, but yet full of care of the Lord. Because usually in this world, when we see somebody who has a lot of power, and a lot of riches, and they can just get things done with their with anything, they can just command things and things happen. Usually those kind of people, they don't care so much about the little people. If a little person gets swept away, they don't, it doesn't matter to them. It has no importance to them. But for Krishna, he cares about every single living entity, no matter how seemingly insignificant they may seem to be. Krishna personally cares about every single living entity, even a little bug on the floor. Krishna's in that bug's heart. Even the most abominable birth that someone may take, Krishna's with that living entity. So that's how much Krishna cares. And same thing with when you talk about playing. When you think of a child playing and they're very carefree, usually children can be that carefree because they're a little bit, they're not thinking very much beyond, they're kind of a little self-absorbed, and they're just absorbed in their own little play. They don't think about the world, that somebody's cooking for them, somebody's doing these things for them. But Krishna is not self-absorbed and just like in his own world. He cares. He really, really tries. He really takes care of everybody, and he can do that because he is Nitya Nityanam. He can maintain all living entities. So first, let's just talk about Krishna's power, how he can do things in a playful, easy way, and then we'll talk about how still he's so concerned and so loving with every living entity. So a shloka that talks about how Krishna has nothing to do and everything is done by his energies is from the Shvetashvara Upanishad. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Natat samascha byadikascha drishyate. Parasya shaktir vividaiva shruyate. Swabhaviki jnana balakriya cha. The Supreme Lord has nothing to do, and no one is found to be equal to or greater than him. For everything is done naturally and systematically by his multifarious energies. And in one purport, Prabhupada is saying that Krishna, he is the master of everything. Just like a master will sit in one place and just the servants would be doing all the work for him. So Krishna, by his energies, everything is being done. He just desires and things get done. Now, if you think about it, the Lord is usually, if we want to create something, we have to put some energy. We have to put thought into it, how to do it, how to plan. You know how Krishna creates? He's sleeping. He's just lying down. And then when he wants to start things in action, he just glances. So talk about sleeping, glancing. That's how Krishna gets things done. Imagine if I wanted to create something and I just could glance and create it. Talk about how powerful Krishna is. Like if I wanted a new car, I just glance at my garage and all of a sudden there's a new car there. So that's how Krishna can get things done. He just glances and immediately his energies act and things happen. So sleeping, glancing, even breathing. When the Mahavishnu is breathing in and out, the universes are going out and coming in. So that's the power of the Lord. So even though he does things very easily and playfully, he's super, super attentive and loving and caring for every living entity, which is so inconceivable. From the greatest power to the most attentive and sensitive and kind person. In Queen Kunti's prayers, she addresses the question, why does the Lord come to this world? People come up with different theories. Why would the Lord, who's so powerful, somebody who's so powerful that he can get things done just by thinking or glancing, why would he need to personally come to this world? He could just get things done, why does he have to come himself, right? A powerful person doesn't need to personally go to see if the janitor's cleaning well or, to help somebody, he can just get things done, easily. So why does the Lord come himself? So Queen Kunti addresses this question and she gives different opinions of different people of why Krishna comes. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, and it's text 32 to 36. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in Malaya hills. So one opinion is Krishna comes to glorify the pious kings and to glorify the Yadu dynasty, just like the Malaya hills are very famous because sandalwood comes there. Okay? Then she gives her the next opinion. Others say that since both Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly you are unborn, yet you take your birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. So you came because Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you and to kill those that were envious of the demigods. Others say that the world, being overburdened like a boat at sea, is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. So it's another opinion that because Brahma prayed for you, that's why you appeared. And then the last two texts, 35 and 36, she gives the real reason why Krishna comes. And yet others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned souls suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. So what is the real reason Krishna comes personally himself? He personally comes himself to establish the path of devotional service so that the conditioned souls can cross over and get out of this entanglement of this material world and come back to their real home. So this is the kindness of Krishna. He personally comes to establish this. And in the purport, it's mentioned, I like the Setu being like a bridge, right? We know Lanka, when Ramachandra, they built the bridge across the ocean to go to Lanka, Setu. So Krishna comes to this world to create that bridge because we can't get out on our own. We've desired to live a fake world, just like a child who wants to be a parent. So the parent gives them a little playhouse so the child can pretend I'm the master and I can do these things on my own. So Krishna's kind of created this world for us to pretend, but it's really not feasible because it's going against who we really are. It's like a fish out of water trying to enjoy. So because in order to live in this fake kind of environment, Krishna has to put a very thick layer of Maya, illusion, so that we can pretend, or we can just kind of think that we're happy even though we're not happy. So there's no way that we can get out of this illusion unless Krishna himself comes and gives us the process that you follow this, and this is the way you can get out of that entanglement. In the purport for 1.835, Srila Prabhupada writes, in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Lord asserts that he appears in every millennium just to reestablish the way of religion. The way of religion is made by the Supreme Lord. No one can manufacture a new path of religion, as is the fashion for certain ambitious persons. The factual way of religion is to accept the Lord as a supreme authority, and thus render service unto him in spontaneous love. A living being cannot help but render service because he is constitutionally made for that purpose. The only function of a living being is to render service to the Lord. And going down to the last part of the purport, the Lord, however, out of his causeless mercy, because he's more merciful to the suffering living beings than they can expect. I really like that. He is more merciful to the suffering living beings than they can expect. He appears before them and renovates the principles of devotional service comprised of hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshiping, praying, cooperating, and surrendering unto him. Adoption of all the above-mentioned items, or any one of them, can help a conditioned soul get out of the tangle of nescience and thus become liberated from all material sufferings created by the living being illusioned by the external energy. This particular type of mercy is bestowed upon the living being by the Lord in the form of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the mercy of the Lord, how even though he's so powerful, he comes himself to establish this bridge of devotional service so that we can get out of this illusion. And in his form as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's even more merciful. He gives a process that's easy even in this age of Kali to get to the highest position. So from the lowest to the highest, that's the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In regards to Krishna being so concerned, I was thinking about one conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Haridas Thakur. So one time, it's described in Antya-lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila, chapter 3. So one time, Lord Chaitanya just came to Haridas Thakur and began to have a conversation. And Lord Chaitanya posed a question. He said, "My dear Haridas, in this age of Kali, most people are bereft of Vedic culture, and therefore they are called Yavanas. They are concerned only with killing cows and Brahminical culture. In this way, they all engage in sinful acts. How will these Yavanas be delivered? To my great unhappiness, I do not see any way." So why should such an amazing personality like the Supreme Personality of Godhead be unhappy? But Krishna's actually feeling concerned and unhappy. How can they be delivered? And Haridas Thakur gives a reply. He says, "My dear Lord, do not be in anxiety. Do not be unhappy to see the condition of the Yavanas in material existence." And then he says a very nice thing. How can the Yavanas be delivered? Through the holy name. Even if they chant it unconsciously or meaning something else, they will get delivered. And then Haridas Thakur gives the example of someone saying, "Harama, Harama," which means, in some cultures like, oh, horrible, but actually it's referring to Lord Ramachandra, and they can be delivered by this namabhas chanting. So in this way, Haridas Thakur talks about Ajamil, how Ajamil, just by saying the Narayan, referring to his son, he got liberated. So don't worry, my Lord. The holy name is here. And if people even say it unconsciously or they hear it, or they will get liberated. So don't worry. Then Lord Chaitanya poses a next question. And this is really, really nice. So talk about the concern of the Lord. What's the next question that the Lord asks? So it says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this from Haridas Thakur. The happiness within his heart increased. But as a matter of course, he still inquired further. On this earth, there are many living entities, the Lord said, some moving and some not moving. What will happen to the trees, plants, insects, and other living entities? How will they be delivered from material bondage? So now he's not only concerned about the human beings, he's concerned about the animals, the trees, the insects, and even the unmoving living entities. How will they be delivered? And again, Haridas Thakur assures the Lord that it will take place by your mercy. Actually, you have already gone into the world, and by your loud chanting of the holy names, you have penetrated every living entity has heard it and has become liberated from material bondage. Even the non-moving living entities like trees, they hear it. And he says it's actually, when you hear an echo, Haridas Thakur said, it's not an echo. It's actually these living entities chanting the holy names. That's the vision of a pure devotee. And then Haridas Thakur talks about how when you went through the Jarikanda forest, all these animals started to dance and chant, and the trees everything became auspicious because of your chanting. And then you may think, okay, Lord Chaitanya, that was Lord Chaitanya's time, but what about today? And then Haridas Thakur says, you have preached the loud chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and this way freed all moving and non-moving living entities from material bondage. And when your wait, hold on, let me see. Oh yes, this is text 72. When loud chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is performed all over the world by those who follow in your footsteps, all living entities, moving and non-moving, dance in ecstatic devotional love. So even when the activities of the Lord, if we just follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and loudly chant the holy name, all living entities get liberated, Haridas Thakur says. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu still has one more follow-up question. He says, so if all living entities are liberated, the entire universe will be devoid of all living beings. And then Haridas Thakur says, actually, yes, you will liberate all living entities. They will go back to the spiritual world. But again, you'll awake. There's more living entities who are, in dormant condition, waiting. And so you again awaken those living entities and again fill up the universe. So that will not be a problem. So in this way, Haridas Thakur, through this conversation, we just get a sense of how concerned and how loving is the Lord. And also how if we follow in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can also have that mood of trying to give that mercy to all living entities. I really was inspired yesterday, Maharaj, in your class, where you're talking about how we can pray to the holy name. And that was such a beautiful point because, we think about chanting the holy name, we think about, spreading the holy name, but praying to the holy name, that's such a, the holy name is so, so merciful that we can actually have a relationship with the holy name as a person. Yeah? Radha, Krishna are there. So, and they're the most merciful forms. So we can pray to Nam Prabhu that please help me to serve you by chanting your holy names, and please help me to also give you to others so that others also will get benefited. So when we talk about Krishna's supremacy, how he does things so easily, another aspect of this is that how, just as Krishna is carefree because he can do everything by his will, we can also be carefree if we depend on Krishna. The anxiety that comes to us in this world is because we think I'm the controller, I'm the enjoyer, I need to be the best friend of everybody. But if we remember Krishna's the controller, Krishna's the enjoyer, and Krishna's the best friend, and we just act as a servant, then there's no more anxiety. And that's something that, it's a theoretical concept, at least for me, but I'm trying to remember when I start to get tensed and anxious, to remember maybe I'm trying to control things. Maybe I'm trying to be the controller. maybe I'm trying to enjoy, have things be comfortable for me. Or maybe I think I have to be the best friend of everybody and help everybody. But maybe that's not my role. It's not my role. My role is simply to serve Krishna, serve the spiritual master, and serve in such a way that to connect people to Krishna, So, and as soon as we come to that point, then we're carefree. We're actually carefree. I just heard this morning, when I turned on Prabhupada lecture, that Prabhupada said, Mukti means to come to the right platform. I am not master, I am servant. Then there is no more suffering. It is very simple philosophy. Give up the opposite conception, and then we are liberated immediately. So as soon as I think that I am servant and not master, then I'm free. I'm liberated. No more anxiety. It's so simple. Of course, as Maharaj mentions, that there's another kind of anxiety, but that's a different spiritual anxiety that's actually, in the spiritual world, or the pure devotees have, which is, on another platform. But this material anxiety that comes from trying to be attachment, trying to control things, trying to arrange things in such a way that I can enjoy, or trying to make sure everyone is happy because I feel that it's my role to make everyone, feel that I'm their best friend or something like that. If we have that kind of mood, then we're going to be anxious all the time and not happy and carefree. And then when we come to that point, as Krishna says, Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutam gyatva shantim richati, that when we know Krishna as the supreme controller, enjoyer, and best friend, then we can actually attain peace and happiness. But at the same time, even though devotees have that complete dependence, complete carefree nature, because they're fully dependent on Krishna, at the same time, they are anxious for how to help the living entities come back to Krishna. Just as Krishna is full of care and love for the living entities, the devotees also have that concern. So, in Prahlad Maharaj's prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, he says, my concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and maintaining their families, societies, and countries. I'm simply concerned with love for them. And then he says, I see many saintly people, they're interested only in their own deliverance, and they go to the Himalayas or quiet places and take a vow of silence. They're interested only in delivering themselves. I do not wish to only liberate myself, leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to the shelter at your lotus feet. So that's the compassion of these acharyas, the pure devotees. So carefree, but full of care, full of love. So that's the theme that I took from this verse, that Krishna is so kind, so compassionate, and the devotees are even more kind and compassionate. So taking shelter of the devotees and also trying to spread it as much as we can to others. So those are some points from this shloka. Would anyone like to add anything or ask anything? Yes. Yes. Hare Krishna. It's a what? Prickly. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Mother Rudrani is asking how to define a servant, because it's a very prickly term. People don't like to hear that, like being a servant, right? We're so, we're used to slavery and all that. So I would say it's the most natural, just like like you could say, like a mother and a child, that natural loving relationship. It's a reciprocation. The child loves the mother loves the child. As a reciprocating bond of love. It's not like the child is serving the mother and the mother is like, it's not that kind of relationship. It's one of pure love, and it's so intimate. It's more intimate than the part of the body with the body. It's that close, that intimate. So would anyone else like to add something about this? Yeah. As lover, yeah, that's nice, yeah. Yeah. Yes, a lover. Yes, Prabhu. There's no force of service in the spiritual world. Yeah, it's completely out of love. Yes, yes. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai. Thank you.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Marhamatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Kriya Priti Manti Vasyanti Pan Kayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Adipurusham Tamaham Namakum Vishnu Jaya Krishna Prastaya Putale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Namanichi Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Murmani Macha Naked Shah Shunyavadi Asacha Tesa Taranay Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya